Snap introduced a new version of Spectacles yesterday, and this is the first time I've been excited about a new technology like this, a piece of hardware, in quite a long time. I started a VR and AR business 7 years ago, and at that time, the idea was that this was going to be the next computing platform. That really hasn't played out the way that we thought at that period of time. VR devices have not gone mainstream. AR devices are still just kind of toys in a lot of different ways. And there's just not that many devices out there available today. But Snap is taking a different strategy and has some interesting hardware. And so that's what I want to dig into today, is exactly what we know about this product. Now, these glasses that I'm going to talk about are not going to be available for consumers for a while. They're going to get into developers' hands first. But once they do, it'll be really interesting to see what developers are able to build. Maybe this is the kind of product that isn't going to be on everybody's eyes a year or 2 years from now. But if Snap can get 1% adoption, let's say, for spectacles, and have this be a really fun tool to play with, that will be a really interesting place for them to be in, because it's a very lowly valued company compared to a lot of its competitors in VR and AR. In particular, I am talking about Meta platforms. So let's get into exactly what we found out. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. Let's go to the announcement. This is the Snap Spectacles. Kind of some big gaudy glasses. But what's interesting about them is they are standalone glasses. These are not something that's going to be tethered to a phone. This is really all you need to have this kind of AR interaction. They're showing some images here of what you can do with these spectacles. And if you're not familiar, Snap has been building kind of the baseline behind this, the technology that goes into their lens kit is what they call it. And they've been doing this for quite a while. Hasn't gained mass adoption, but even those tools that you might use in Snapchat to put animations on your face, that was kind of the foundation of Snap moving into augmented reality. Now they're really taking that to the next level with spectacles. So now instead of just being kind of AR behind the scenes, that was what we had with the original spectacles. They would capture images and then you could share those with Snapchat. Now we're talking about having an actual AR device. There's AR built into the glasses themselves. I think it's 47 degrees of augmented reality in the viewing window. And so you're able to see these virtual devices. You can blend physical and virtual objects like you see here with a piano. That could be a phenomenal use case. And Lens Studio, they already have the infrastructure and the tools behind this for developers to actually build really, really cool things in augmented reality. So I'll just show some of these things on the screen. They have a set of interactions that are available with their AR Studio. Evan Spiegel talked about this on their presentation yesterday. So if you look at what would be a watch, there's going to be controls. You can pinch things. It's a little bit like the controls you have in a Meta device or in the Apple Vision Pro as well. And developers have all of these tools in their toolkit as well. And this article is from Engadget, but the clear story behind this was that the media people who actually got to experience this thought it was pretty good. And I think that's a real departure from what we've seen from a lot of augmented reality glasses. You now have these, and then you have glasses, the Ray-Ban glasses from Meta platforms. So can this be some sort of new platform to build on? And that's where I think the details of this are really interesting. And the one that I was most interested in was Snap OS. So they're going to have their own operating system. And we don't have all of the details around this, but I think the way to think about this is that Snap is not going to be using someone else as the intermediary to reach customers. They're going to have their own operating system. So this isn't going to be something that's tied to an iPhone or an Android device like we have seen in the past, where the phone is really providing most of the compute, and then the glasses hardware is kind of a secondary piece. This is going to be the piece of hardware. And so now think about what the opportunities are for Snap if they're actually able to get people to wear this. If this form factor, which is big and gaudy as it looks today, could be a much smaller and much more appealing form factor in the future. Think about things like artificial intelligence, adding an LLM to this, connecting it to the internet. Now you're capturing your surroundings. You can overlay maps. You can overlay games. There's all kinds of things you can do this as they control the operating system. And that's fundamentally what's different about this device versus other devices for Snap. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. This is where things get really interesting for Snap. They're now not just an app that lives on somebody else's ecosystem, like you are on iOS or on Android. They're not just a social network where you're competing against the biggest social networks, meta platforms in particular. You're not going to be able to beat them at their own game. But can you do something that's completely different? Kind of come in from the side, from a strategic standpoint, from a technology standpoint. And that's where I think this product really fits. And think about it from a horizontal and vertical business model standpoint. So you have the advent of the PC. Microsoft really took a horizontal business model in that. So we're going to create the operating system. Yes, we're going to create some applications, but you can build your own applications on top of Windows, and whatever you build, we're not going to take a huge chunk of that because we want you to be building on our ecosystem. That's how you create that two-sided market. Then you have a more vertically integrated approach with a product like the iPhone and iOS. Apple has a gated, this is much more of a gated product. You have to apply to be in the App Store. They have to approve your app. They're going to take 30% of that app. So it kind of limits the amount of business models that you can build there. So what Snap is saying is we're going to create this device. We're going to charge you developers to actually develop for it, which is more like a Unity type business model. But then once you develop for it, we're actually not going to charge you to deliver those products to customers. So you're having more of a horizontal business model where they're creating hardware and software, but they're not taking a constant tax. And I think that's what's really different. So what will developers build? Well, if there's no limit on what they can build, that's where you potentially create an interesting new ecosystem with this Snap OS. And I think that's what's unique and new about these new spectacles. Seems like the technology is getting to the point where it's better and it's good enough for people to actually adopt this, at least on a smaller scale. Then do you get a developer ecosystem building, and do you start to have a flywheel for this augmented reality product? That is what could potentially be bullish for Snap. Now, all of that said, the company has not executed well in the past. So I'm very cautious to get too bullish on this product. But this was one of the first hardware products that I've seen in quite a while to really pique my interest and say this could really change things. I am surprised that it's coming from Snap, but they have been building the foundation for this for years. And a lot of the competitors, like Apple, like Facebook, like Meta platforms, have not succeeded in ways that we thought they would succeed ahead of Snap. So can Snap break through in that way? That's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But let me know what you think about the new Snap spectacles in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.